from is a period where the New York courthouse for the closing arguments of the civil court trial. The lawyers speaking at the International Court of Justice say that Israel planned to destroy Gaza. And former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis are both claiming victory following the final debate ahead of next Monday's Iowa court.
Brought to you by Triangle Access Broadcasting. Here's a look at the weather in 93.5 listening area. For this afternoon, sunny skies, high around 58. Tonight, mostly clear, low around 33. Friday, increasing afternoon cloudiness and becoming breezy, with afternoon rain and isolated thunderstorms, high around 65. Friday night, windy with rain and isolated thunderstorms, but becoming mostly clear. Isolated severe storms are possible, low around 45. And Saturday, sunny and breezy, high around 54. Keep it here on Earth 93.5. I'm nowcast meteorologist Jim Vaughn.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned into Chat City with P. Ross. Conversations and interviews are in the queue. Listen or join in. Here she is, P. Ross.
Hey, what's happening, everybody out there? I know this does not sound like P. Ross, and it is not. It's your boy, Will Quick, sitting in for P. Ross today. Welcome back, everyone, and Happy New Year. Seems like a lot of stuff is going on, been going on, and will keep going on. But we're going to be here today and just have a little chit-chat with my man, Jeff Clark. And we're going to talk a little bit about retirement. Just a little background. Jeff and I chewed a lot of the same dirt in our career path.
A lot of it.
Was in law enforcement. So, but we're going to keep it G-rated for sure. And try to have some interesting conversation. Maybe a little something that's going to help somebody out along the way. But before we get into that, Jeff, I would be remiss if I did not make mention. They are laying to rest today. One of our brothers, Sergeant Patrick Nix of the Greensboro Police Department. My heart goes out to the family, the law enforcement family, his immediate family, his extended family. I understand he was very much a man of the community, and saw quite a few people speak on the fact that he was truly a kind-hearted man of the community. So enough respect to him, and rest in peace.
Definitely.
We also got Dr. King holiday coming up on Monday. So we will, of course, pay homage to a man that we could be here all day long just having a conversation about that, but that'll be for another day at another time. And I guess I'll put this out there because there's probably a chance somebody else will mention it. It just so happens that today is my double nickel birthday, everybody. So happy birthday to me. And shout out to everyone that's already reached out to me today. Thank you so much. And while you're listening, if you want to call in and chat with us and join in, the number here is 919-899-9305. 919-899-9305. All right, so now we're done with the housekeeping and everything. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Jeff, how you been, man?
I've been fine, but now let's go back to the double nickels there. Now let's make sure that you have filled out the appropriate AARP paperwork.
That was at 50.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure you got it, because the free donuts at Dunkin' Donuts with the small coffee. I mean,
oh man!
And
you know the phone gonna ring just on that, right?
Well, I mean, you can't miss out on that. That is a continuous thing. I mean, so just take advantage of what's been given to you.
Well, see, you on a different side of the world where I am over in Alamance County. We got a number of specialty donut shops. Was it Daily Donuts and another donut shop? So Dunkin' Donuts actually, by comparison, for a lot of people, just doesn't cut the mustard.
Well, when it's free, the mustard is
fair
cut.
Fair enough. But yeah, man, I'm there. I keep telling myself I'm being in the best shape of my life. That started off at 50 and then 51 and 52, 53, 54. So Lord see me and show me another day. So now I got another day to work at it.
Oh, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
But so we want to talk about retirement life.
As far as me, my retirement life is.
I mean, in you in general, I tell folks all the time, because I'm in that group now too. I tell folks all the time, it's a good problem to have, but make no mistake, it's still a challenge.
It's a great problem to have, you especially if you've got younger kids like I had. I had two boys that were still in elementary school, one in middle school, and me being in retirement, it saved me and my wife a great deal of money because we didn't have to pay that child care expense.
Absolutely.
And when I retired, my wife Lauren, she got a promotion, so that allowed her to extend her hours.
She was singing "Let Me Upgrade You," wasn't she?
Yeah. But I've enjoyed retirement. It started off as a challenge though, because I had been working. I guess I've been working in law enforcement for 30 years, which spanned over 4 decades almost. And once you become vested in a career like that, and you lose that all of a sudden, not so much lose, but you retire, it's almost like a loss.
Great.
So, and you do need some time off. You don't need to, personally, me, speaking for me, can't speak for everybody else, but I thought it was appropriate, best for me to take some time off before going back to work.
Sure.
Because you have to take some time to figure out who you are and what it is that you want to do. So I took some time off. I didn't go back to work per se.
I have to give because I'm still in that taking time off, and I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around, do I want to go back to work?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you call work. Because I took over a youth football program, the Durham Firebirds, and it's strictly voluntary, so I wasn't getting any pay for that. But now that was some work. Organizing the program, getting the equipment, that was a lot of work. And
you being real polite. Let's keep it 100. Dealing with children and their parents.
You said we're gonna keep it.
We are G-rated. We are G-rated, but we being real too.
It was a challenge, and now that my boys are no longer playing with the Firebirds, they've moved up on the high school. And give a shout out to my kids. Tyler, he is a senior at Jordan High School, and he received a scholarship to play football.
We got to give up some love on that one.
Yeah. At North Carolina Central University.
I give up love on that one too. HBCU pride.
Hey, I'm a Central graduate also, and I will say this because I know you are Aggie. A eagle is no ordinary barnyard fowl.
Agreed.
So he'll be there in the fall. My youngest son, Tyler, Noah is, and they swear up and down that I keep getting them confused. They don't understand I'm almost 60. That's
a parental right, and I've seen your boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that maybe you might not get a pass on is Jeff.
I'm getting to him. But Noah is a sophomore at Jordan High School also. They both play football. And surprisingly enough, both of them made all-state teams. And my oldest son, Jeff, is the coach. He's an assistant coach at the high school. Yep. So I've got all my boys in one spot. And yeah.
Man, just you speaking on that and giving us some background about what's going on with your boys. Anybody that's listening can tell you and your missus did an awful lot right to be able to see that type of progress with your kids.
Yeah, I would like to think that we did some things right with the boys.
Absolutely. We give a love on that. But so you kind of started on a little bit with the football, but so what do you do with your time?
Well, I do the football, but one of the biggest things that I have to do is continue to help the boys. They're in school, yes, but with football comes a lot of extra stuff. Somebody's got to get them ready for training because it never ends now. And when I was playing football back in the 80s, back when, they had leather helmets, nobody knew anything about off-season conditioning.
Yeah, we won't even talk about concussions back then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't the start of the season till your bell got rung.
Yeah, I think I probably got my bell rung too many times.
Yeah, me too.
This was probably wrong with me now, but there was no such thing as that. And now you've got junior days, which now Noah's getting responses. Hey, come down for junior day. Mm-hmm. So you'll have to, I guess, for lack of better words, I'm a cab driver, and get them to place and sort of listen and follow what these coaches are saying to the kids, because it's different now. It's a lot different, and the coaches don't communicate with parents; they communicate with the kids. So, yeah, it's a lot to stay on top of. So, the biggest thing I'm doing, Firebirds, which I'm going to take a step back from them and turn some of that over to some other people, younger people. So it is following the boys, keeping up with them, making sure that they do right and they're done right.
That's got to be fun and fulfilling.
It is fun to go to various, especially when you go to the prospect camps. You meet different coaches, meet different kids, and a lot of times you'll find out that you're seeing the same kids over and over again at different camps. And but it is very fun. It's fun to do that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. I've seen some of the pictures that you all posted with your boys on either side of you and whatnot, and it brings to mind when I first got started in law enforcement, and you and Charles, and
that's
then
my buddy.
Ed,
Those are my guys, Charles.
Y'all,
Charles and Ed.
I can't really describe it over the radio. A picture would do it much more justice. But you're talking about some real bookends. I mean, every one of these guys was easily 6'2", 6'3", and won't nobody missing any meals. And so now when I look at Jeff's kids next to him, I got to know, they're like 13, 14, 15 years old, and they looking you in the eye. You like to run it a little bit.
They have Noah. I think Lauren said the other day, Noah has passed me height wise. Tyler's he's got the thick neck and everything. So yeah, those are some big boys.
I was just like, good.
Yeah, they're big.
You'd have had no idea when they came into this world what you would get ready to have.
I could tell you some stories about that, but like I said, some things I'm gonna keep it real on,
Fair
some
enough.
things I'm not gonna keep it real on.
Fair enough. Well, listen, we again, a lot of everything just kind of flowing in together. But the next question I have for you is, what would you say has been your biggest challenge in retirement?
My biggest challenge in retirement, I would say probably, I'd say my fitness. I say personally, that's my biggest challenge. Well, actually, that's always been my challenge. But I've done a better job with that. Fitness is a challenge, and kind of keeping it together, because you still, once you retire and you're not working, you still miss that team that you had. I mean, when you're working, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's a mall, whether it's McDonald's, you still work with a team.
Yeah.
And when you retire, and if you're not working, you miss that team camaraderie. You don't have that anymore. So it's one of those things that you'll seek out. But I still don't regret taking the time off. I think anybody that is thinking about retirement, they should consider, if you can, take 6 months off, a year off, if you can, if that's possible, because you do need, especially if you've done 30, 40 years in the same place, or you've gone to a couple of places, take the time off so you can rediscover yourself. Because a lot of times, I know, and I don't speak for myself, a lot of times your identity is where you, based on where you work.
I've told folks a lot of times, given that the profession in and of itself has some allies, it has some naysayers and that sort of thing, I tell folks often, I say, well, it's what I did, it's not who I am. But there's still a component, like you said, that is always going to be ingrained in you.
Absolutely.
It's always going to be ingrained in you. And thinking about the work schedules being what they are, and you spend more time with your work family,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly in crisis and difficult situations, you deal with that more with your work family than you ever did at home.
It's true.
And, we were chatting about a little bit earlier about the nature of the work. In order to do it effectively, you now have to get into people's lives
Mm-hmm.
in ways that historically we didn't have to do.
Right.
And that means that you get to share in the good,
Mm-hmm.
but once again, the nature of the work, more often than not, you're called in when it's crisis time.
When things go wrong.
Yep.
You're never called in when things are right. You're not needed then.
And
It's
I'd
just
be
when things
willing to
go wrong.
bet money that a lot of the contact, because you've always been an extremely community conscientious person. I mean, Santa Claus at Christmas. You've always been that guy. So I'd imagine the contacts that you made down through the years and whatnot, a lot of times people will still lean on you or try to, give you a holler under certain circumstances.
That's true. In youth football, you'd be surprised how many parents that I remember when they were young. Several of them now have come to our football organization, and we're coaching their kids, and that's to me. I felt that was really humbling to see.
It's a full circle.
Yeah, a kid that I had given stickers to. We used to give those little stickers.
I do remember.
And that very same kid, couple of them, very same kid now is an adult with a family, and he's now bringing you his kid to lead. So it is a full circle. It is very humbling.
Yeah.
It actually also makes you feel old too.
You know what? I do my best not to claim that. I understand where you're coming from, but I declare I'm trying not to claim it because I keep telling myself if I claim it too much, I'm almost speaking it into existence.
Embrace it. I embrace it. I'm going to turn 60 in a few weeks. Embrace it.
Well, I mean, once the gray beard came, the beard came in gray. Then it was almost like you didn't have any choice but to.
Hey, you're blessed. Your gray is coming on all at the same time. You don't have a patchwork deal going on.
Well, that was actually the case beforehand when it was dark whiskers. So I was kind of surprised to see it did come in this way too. But so do you get back around to the communities where you work from time to time?
From time to time, I'll get back into the community and back in the Chapel Hill because Lauren, my wife, she still works in Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. So from time to time, I'll get back around in the neighborhoods. Sometimes I'll get back to the police department because I still have a few friends that are there. I mean, and when I say that, not because I don't have any, enemies.
I know it's there. I have trouble trying to keep up with it because there's so many new faces.
They've all gone. They're all drinking coffee at the cafe or the diner like I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get an instance to get around and see some folks. And I will probably say what I need to do a lot more in retirement is to get around to the people and the guys I used to work with.
Correct.
I think that a lot of times once we go into retirement, we tend to become singular and we'll draw back into ourselves when we should not forget about those people that we worked with. And I am the world's worst at doing that. So I probably need to start connecting more. Like I need to connect more with you. Some of the other guys I used to work with, you talk about Charles and connect more with him. Of course, I do see Ed quite a bit, but I need to do a better job of that.
I admire your modesty with that. I will say to your defense with that, everybody won't raising 2 kids in elementary school and trying to figure out the path that's going to be laid for them.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I have time now, so I should do a better job of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something that we can be intentional about going forward. Hence, when I was, when they told me that I'd be hosting today, then, as a part of the show, we find our guests and everything. And so I'm thinking to myself, because P. Ross, like I was telling you, she's tied into the entertainment sector and whatnot. So every time I turn around, she's bringing in somebody that's got this voice and, I'm sorry, my bad. She's bringing in somebody that's this singer, this entertainer. It's like she knows all kinds of famous people.
Right.
I said, well, I don't know that I know a whole bunch of famous people, but I know a whole bunch of people that did things that meant something to a lot of people. And you are definitely one of those ones that comes to mind in that regard.
Well, I certainly appreciate you saying that.
So-
Of course, I would rather be one of those famous people, but I'll take the comment.
I don't know,
the
fame.
compliment nonetheless.
We've seen enough stuff coming with famous people. You sure you want that smoke?
Nah, you're right. You're right. I'll pass on
You
that.
sure you want that smoke? I mean, because I can give a holler out to Uncle Shan and see if he can get you on Shay Shay.
No, that's fine. I'll pass.
I don't know. That might be kind of interesting.
No, I think Shay Shay got some alcohol there, and I think that that Flip Wilson said in the movie "Loose Lips Sink Ships."
Ah, man, I don't know that had anything to do with it. I mean, that was gonna come out one way or the other.
Yeah, it
One way
was.
or the other. So, we talked a little bit thus far about, your transition and what you really sunk yourself into with the boys and with the family life and everything. And of course, that makes perfect sense, spending as much time away from them as you did. And the tremendous job that you and your wife have done with your boys is unbelievable.
I will say one of the biggest thrills that I had the first year that in my retirement was actually going trick-or-treating. I have that.
So Jeff, tell us, why is that the first year you were able to go trick-or-treating?
Well, even when because I've worked with multiple departments. I worked with Catawba County Sheriff's Department, Hickory Police Department. I worked with probation, parole, and with Chapel Hill. In any of those jobs, Halloween was a night that you didn't get off.
True.
And of course, the street celebrations in Chapel Hill. There was no getting off for that.
Legendary.
Yeah, I mean, now it's gotten a lot better, but I can remember the days when they had buses from out of state coming in, and you'd have 60, 70,000 people downtown. So, long story short, I was able to take the kids trick or treating, and also
You ain't take that candy, did you?
I only like the peanut butter and candies and the Snickers, but I'll leave everything else. So I got my fair share of candy, but it was a thrill to actually go trick or treating because that's the first time I'd really done that. And then I think the next year I'm a Star Wars buff. I think the next year I had a lightsaber and a Jedi suit, and then kind of.
Master
Gave
Window.
out candy. Yeah, yes. The cape was a bathrobe, but it's still nonetheless. It worked. It worked.
That works. I ain't mad at you. I can tell you that I did not. I ain't have my light on for Halloween. I don't even think I was at the house for Halloween, and if I was, there was no candy to be distributed.
Oh, I'm giving out candy now.
Man,
I'm gonna go. I'm making sure I give out candy. That's a thrill too. Something I never got to do in the past several years. I've been at the door. Now the kids are old; they don't go trick or treating anymore.
I guess I must be the Halloween Grinch or something.
Yeah, you are.
Man.
We're gonna roll your yard. I'm gonna come trick or treating, and you don't have anything for me. You getting toilet paper.
Man, I'm glad I ain't got nothing but that one little small tree in the front yard. That'll be easy to pull that stuff down. That'll be real easy to pull that stuff down. So what's next for you, man?
What's next for me? Honestly, I think it may be time for me to find something now.
Okay.
Because the nest is going to be empty. My wife, she's going to work longer. I think maybe it's time for me to step out and find me a little gig. So I'll probably keep my eye on that. But it's going to have to be something that I'm having fun doing.
Correct.
I'm not going to go back to work just for the sake of going back to work. I got to have a good time because you got to enjoy it now.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in law enforcement, you did enjoy what you were doing, but you did it because it was your job.
Correct.
So whatever I do, I'm going to have a great time doing it.
Well, I know being in law enforcement, a lot of times our circle is typically kind of small, but this is an experience that I've had. I'm curious if you had it. Those friends of mine who are still working in the private sector, and then you tell them, oh yeah, well, I'm getting ready to, what? You get ready to retire? Man, I got to work. Hey, do you have any folks in your circle like that are in the private sector and they're kind of looking at you side eye because
Yeah, I do because a lot of times they don't get the fact that you can do 30 and still be,
Yeah.
in your 50s.
Yeah.
Because
We've seen folks go out in their late 40s.
I will say that is one of the great things about working for municipalities.
Yes.
Because if you do right, don't burn all your sick time, don't burn all your vacation time. You can bank all that thing up, and the next thing you know, you're out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with your full pension. So it does catch people by surprise. So I've had people make comments about that. And, I've also had people comment the fact, well, aren't you going to immediately go back to work? Which, no, I'm not. I do think also, I will say, I don't think that the places, businesses or whatever do a great job of preparing people for retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about, this is what you're going to get, your benefits or whatnot, but I don't think that anybody has ever thought about, kind of counseling folks as to what to expect. Because if you are, if you're one of those people that are just hard charging, you've been in the law enforcement, you've had the authority and the power, and all of a sudden it's gone, how do you adjust to that? So I think that, and that's even away from law enforcement. It could be any job.
When, I was just getting ready to say, the nature of the relationship between employer and employee, that dynamic has changed. Folks like to throw out that word loyalty and whatnot. And where did it go off the rails? Because once upon a time, you could count on being a good employee, the employer treating you well, and doing things that are going to promote keeping you.
Right.
And so many work environments now, it's almost like I have to find a way to make myself invaluable to them. Otherwise, they see me, irregardless of the fact that I could be doing a good job in that job.
Right.
If I don't find a way to convince them that I'm irreplaceable, I'm replaceable.
And that's in any profession. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So trying to, and that's a whole nother stressor, especially in the work that we came from. It's a whole different stressor. So, but, so you said something that doesn't feel like work.
Something that doesn't feel like work, something that you have a good time doing.
Now, is this, you got something in mind as far as, of your own creation? Or?
I'm looking. I still, either working, I'm still a public servant. Almost. Yeah. So it's
I'm kind of setting you up because, and the reason why I say it that way is because, like I said, you've always been a man of the community, and you've always been the type of guy that wants to make a difference. So when you tell me you're starting to look now, and you have worked with kids as long as you have, specifically with the football, and you see what's happening with your boys, my gut tells me whatever it is you're looking at something that's going to make a difference.
Probably.
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
But like I said, I've got my eyes open, and we'll see what happens. But like I said, I gotta have a good time. I gotta have fun.
Absolutely.
I gotta have fun.
Absolutely.
You have to have fun.
Now, you touched on it a moment ago about preparation. What would you do different to be prepared for retirement?
Well, when I retired, not saying I probably retired when I didn't want to.
Okay.
I just I probably should have stayed a little longer. But you feel that it's a different generation coming in, and you don't necessarily fit in that particular generation. Maybe it's time to step back, and you've got the time, go ahead and retire. If I had it to do all over again, I think I would have maybe taken my time a little bit and strategize on I made an exit strategy as to what I was going to do.
Okay.
Because, I did bounce around a little bit. I preached about how I took some time off, but immediately after I retired, I was already getting interviews for jobs. And I had several offers, so I was gonna even I was saying how I was gonna take 6 months off. I almost
don't it feel good to have people call you to be on their team?
Yep,
rather than looking for a team to be on.
Yep, I had gone through a couple of interviews, and I had multiple job offers, and I thought about it, and I turned them down because at the time it just felt like it would be more cost effective if I stayed and took care of the boys.
You touched on that earlier. Yeah.
So I didn't take those positions, and I wouldn't change that at all. I think that was still beneficial. So yeah.
What advice would you give? And that you touched on the continuing work and everything, but the other component, particularly with us talking about seemingly the lack of preparation for people that are in the profession now.
Mm-hmm.
If it happened to be a younger officer or an officer in the middle of their career listening right now, from the standpoint of preparation, particularly financially, what advice would you give them?
Well, load up on your 401k. This is obvious things, max out on your 401ks, which probably everybody's doing. But I
don't know that the economy might be
could be, yeah. But I think that the thing that I would tell a younger officer or an officer that's getting ready to retire is to plan it out, think it through,
right,
and make sure that you take some time for yourself. Because if you have been in a position for a long time, it's going to be an adjustment. And like I said, nobody's there to help you. And if you do find yourself struggling with it, keep the contacts and reach out to them. Because I think when I retired, I think that's when I kept up the most with the guys that used to work at the police department.
Right.
The weeks, months, maybe a year or so, I would keep up with them. Almost like,
but it goes so fast.
Yes, and it goes fast. And then the next thing you know, they're retired.
Yeah.
And then you see each other. So it's almost
now,
like
y'all in the same boat trying to figure out how to paddle.
Yeah,
this
it's
thing.
almost like you're weaning yourself off the job.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt to me. I was weaning myself away.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I can tell you with 100% certainty that the job that I will be getting, I will not be carrying a gun.
Yeah, I can
that
understand.
Is not. That. I am not. I can't go back that route. Mainly, my back won't let me, and my knees won't let me either.
Yeah,
but even if my back and my knees would let me, I still wouldn't.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't. I still couldn't go back that route. Not that I have any ill will. I mean, I still support my my brothers in blue.
Sure.
I sport my retired strip, my black and blue strip on my truck.
Yep.
So I'm still there, but it's a different game now. It's a different game, and
that it is.
I can't play that game.
That it is. Everyone, you're listening to WRLY 93.5, The Oak, out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And this is Chat City, starring P. Ross, but this is Will Quick filling in for her, and my guest is Jeff Clark. And we just been talking a little bit about retirement and all the good things that come with it, some of the challenges that come along with it, and hope you're enjoying. And again, if you want to call in and join the conversation, the number is 919-899-9305, 919-899-9305. So, Jeff, we talked a lot about different stuff. What do you do for downtime, brother?
What do I do for downtime? Well, I will tell you, I do like to watch TV. Now,
ditto.
But see, I'm not watching the traditional TV. I guess I'm living in the past, Will.
Okay.
At least that's what my wife and my kids say. I like watching. You ever heard of the channel Pluto?
I have.
That is my favorite. Not that I'm giving. Maybe I should give Pluto. Maybe they should give me a shout out or something. But, that's a great channel. I can watch old Twilight Zones. I can watch the Carol Burnett Show. I can watch Columbo.
Oh man, you watching Carol Burnett? You laughing all day long.
I love those shows. My family talks about how old I'm getting, and I said, look, these shows are good, but when I get to the point where I'm watching Gunsmoke and the Big Valley, y'all can go on ahead and send me off to the old folks home because I've reached that point. But
okay.
not because of In the Heat of the Night. I love In the Heat of the Night. That's a great show. I'll watch that, but Gunsmoke, that's the limit. Just go ahead and send me to the home.
Now it's funny because I was up early this morning and before light, and I went ahead and got on up and just like you said, went and turned on the TV. Oh, hold on, we have a caller. You on Chat City? Hello,
This
hello.
is co-host Will Quick.
Yes,
Will
ma'am.
Quick.
We got P. Ross
Happy
on the line,
birthday
everybody.
To you. Happy birthday to you.
I'll sing along. Happy birthday, dear Will. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday
Oh, y'all
to
are
you.
melodious today. Yeah, I give y'all some love on that. Nice. That's not my birthday. That's for the first to me. Thank you so
Thank you, Will,
much.
for filling in. And guest host, thank you for coming in.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all.
Happy retirement to the both of you. Thank you for all your service that you've provided to your community.
Well, thank you very
Much
much.
appreciated.
Thank
Thank you so much. Let's give a love
You're
for P.
welcome.
Ross,
Have a
everybody. Give a love.
Thank you.
She took time out of her day to holler back at her. I know. Get on back to what you was after.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But now it's funny. Like I said, I was up watching TV this morning, and the movie that I was watching was one. And you and I might actually be with this one by myself. You remember an old movie called Bingo Long Traveling All Stars and Motorcade?
Yes, I do, with Billy D. Williams,
and James Earl Jones.
I do believe Richard Pryor was in that
Richard
too.
Pryor was in that movie.
They were a baseball
Mabel
team.
King,
I remember that.
Man,
What channel did you see that on?
It was on one of the cable channels.
Huh? I hadn't seen that movie in years.
Yeah, and I get that, but that's the thing. That's kind of how old I am. I still haven't gone completely over to the streaming TV yet. So it's probably a bunch of folks out there talking about, oh, that means you paying a cable bill? Yeah.
You got to let that go. Not that I'm giving a shout out to YouTube TV, but it's time to cut the cord.
I don't know, man. Sometimes, like I said, when you just stumble across something like that, and I looked at some of that stuff and everything, man, but sometimes you just stumble across and you just say, I got to stick with this.
You don't know what you're missing.
I got access to some of the streaming
Pluto
ones.
and Tubi.
Yeah.
Look, I'm like I said, I'm turning 60, and I'm a 60s child.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest cartoons I think I've ever seen was Johnny Quest.
Yes.
That Johnny Quest and Scooby-Doo run neck and neck.
You know, our
well, on
audience is out there talking
Pluto,
about, y'all supposed to be talking about retirement. How in the world we get on cartoons?
I can see Johnny Quest. And I'm sorry, that's what us people in retirement do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's the other component, because when you one of the fellas and you retire, what's one of the first things, particularly if you married, what's one of the first things everybody asks you, are you on top of? The honey-do list.
Well,
that much TV and honey-do list, man.
I would like to say that I'm on top of it, but just as soon as I say I've got everything done, I can probably bet my wife might be listening to it, and she'll call and just.
I was waiting for that light to go off any minute now.
Crack on me. So I will say that I'm trying to do my best on the honey-do list.
Right.
In retirement, I will admit, I have learned how to appropriately fold shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just now you get a fold.
Yeah,
almost like
yeah.
they're in the department store.
Yeah, it's a skill. They
It is a
actually
skill.
make flip fold things to fold that stuff the right way.
Where can I get one?
Man, my wife got one. And
I can't do it.
spend more time trying to get that flip fold to fold it right than I do folding it. But you got to remember now, I grew up, well, you and I kind of had that similarity because you've got multiple, you got what, a brother and two sisters, or?
I have 3 sisters.
Yep.
Unfortunately, my brother passed away just before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I grew up with a house of girls.
As did I.
But honestly, I don't think I remember folding clothes.
How did you get out of that?
I was given my basket and I just threw it in the room. Yeah. I was in school. My mom would wash the clothes. You get the basket of clothes where you were supposed to fold them. Just throw them in the room.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Darn, boy, I needed to be in your household because it didn't go down like that in Dorothy Lee's household.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't catch it. She wouldn't. I guess she just come to the conclusion that I was just a messy kid. And my room was going to be messed up as long as it didn't smell bad. Right?
Man, shoot, I could appreciate that. Cause no, that won't happen. That was not happening at all. So you got the honeydew list all on lock and everything.
I didn't say I had it on lock. I said it's a work in progress.
But the phone hadn't rang yet, so I figured
it's a work in progress.
Whatever it is you're doing, you must be doing it right.
I'm doing the best I can.
That's great. That's great. You had mentioned earlier about investing more in your health. And, we're at the first of the year. A lot of people are always prioritizing getting healthier. What's your game plan?
Well, now let's talk a little bit about that health, because once I did retire, it seems like that's when everything went wrong. That's when your back goes out. That's when your knee goes out. That's when you have problems with your neck. You have problems with everything. Your feet.
I'm gonna give you this X right here. Make sure that don't come my way.
It's going to happen. So you have to take care. You're gonna have to take care of those things. I think my back went out, so I dealt with that. Still, that's a work in progress, because in our profession, you wear that gun belt and that handcuffs sit in the small of your back. You got all these other things, and then when I first got to Chapel Hill, you were a public safety officer, so that means fire/police. So I've fallen off a number of ladders. I've slipped on ice, and you've had that tank on the back. So naturally, I've got a bad back. So I'm dealing with that. Bad knees. I've already had one knee replacement, so we've got that squared away. I'm wearing glasses, which I don't have with me, but
it's a pair of readers in every room in my house, maybe in multiple pair in different rooms.
So that you that's one thing. You've got to take care of yourself once you retire, because things are going to start breaking down.
Right.
They're going to start breaking down, and you got to make sure that you stay on top of your health and take care of it. To continue to get the regular annual physicals. I know it's a bad thing to say. People hate it, but you got to get the prostate exam.
Yeah.
You've got to get the colonoscopies when you're supposed to. You've got to take care of yourself, because once you get a certain age, that's when things start to go wrong. So you want to stay on top of it. And I've been on top of it. I listen to my doctors. I take my medicine when I'm supposed to, and Lord willing, I'll stay here a little longer.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep you around. We're gonna keep you around. And it's, we were talking earlier about staying in contact with folk. It's those discussions are a lot of times discussions that we have either privately with our doctor, maybe with our spouse, but we don't do as good a job of having that discussion one with another. And I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase iron sharpens iron, and it has a lot of very realistic and practical life application.
Yeah.
So, that's just something else to think about going into retirement. It is closing a chapter, so to speak.
It's closing a book and then opening up another one.
Agreed.
And when you open up that other book, you have to make sure that you're not flipping back to the first book. So that's why you've got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And that's why the pages are blank, so you can write it as you go along.
Because I have seen a number of officers that once they retired, his health just deteriorated, and they had no retirement at all, because they, whatever, whether it's health, mental health, or whatever, it's gone.
Okay.
So you've got to take care of yourself once you retire and do what the doctor tells you to do.
Well, you were mentioning, we were just talking about the book and everything, and you were mentioning your career being 30 years spanning over the course of 4 decades. Had you ever given any thought to putting anything on paper?
I think I might need to keep those stories to myself.
Well, maybe not necessarily the stories, maybe, hypothetical version of the stories that have a lesson component to it, even, training material?
Honestly, I have not really thought about that. But I see your point. Yeah, I do have a lot of stories and a lot of, but no, I hadn't really thought about
Oh,
that.
bro, I got a whole lot swimming around in my head, and I am swallowing blood right now, biting my tongue.
Yeah, continue to bite your tongue, Will. Bite it.
Because, man.
Yeah, just keep on biting it. Don't, because I know exactly some
Okay,
of the...
can't we upgrade to PG instead of just G-rated?
No.
We won't go to R. Let's just upgrade to PG.
No.
I would only talk about ones I was involved in. I would not put anybody else out there.
Well, you can disclose some of those things as long as I was not there.
No. Nothing like that. That is hilarious.
But no, I valued my time at the police department. I valued my time in law enforcement. I was a country boy from Davie County. I had never seen anything through law enforcement. I was able to see parts of the country that I'd never seen before, going to training. I learned public speaking in law enforcement. I met a lot of people in law enforcement.
Somebody. Let's see what we got here. You on the line with Chat City. What's happening?
Hey, how are you, Will?
I'm fine. Who am I speaking with, please?
This is Burl.
I knew who it was.
Subject too quick.
I was asking for the benefit of the audience out there, y'all. That's my sister on the other line.
Okay. All right. First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
My main question that I wanted to ask you all, that you all touched on, was trying to stay in shape and taking care of your health and things of that nature. And just like you said, whether you're sharing this information or getting feedback from your wives or spouses, your doctor, you're getting the colonoscopies and all those other fun things that we're supposed to do. This is my major concern, is why is it that it's so difficult still, now in the 21st century, for men to share this type of information with one another? Because knowledge is so powerful. If we could educate ourselves on this in our community, it would make things a whole lot better. Things would go a whole lot smoother. And I'm going to tell you, for me, it's frustrating to see these things happening, because a lot of times our brothers are leaving here far too quick.
You're right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. So, and I know there's no magic bullet or anything like that, but what do you suggest? Because, here we are with all this technology, all this information and whatnot, and for whatever the reason, it's like in our community, our brothers they're not adhering to it, they're not sharing it. So what would be you all's recommendation? Sorry it took so long.
No worries.
Get all that out.
Well, the short answer for me is, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, and that goes particularly with your health.
Correct.
As men, I would say that we are dealing with some long-standing historical standards,
That's
for lack
true.
of better terms.
That's true.
That we just don't do as good a job of communicating sensitive things.
Correct.
Unfortunately, it's just kind of in our DNA. Now, we've reached an age nowadays where people are not only open, in some instances, maybe a little bit of TMI, but to the point that you made about our health, we have to be honest and genuine about it, and we have to make our brothers or anyone that's in our circle comfortable with having that conversation. What do you think, Jeff?
I think
Right.
I think it's getting better, because I think the generation now they're more freer to say things and think things than in my generation. In my generation, I mean, good Lord, I know some folks. I have some uncles. I don't think they ever. That just wasn't happening. And I know that's what killed them, because I never had those tests. I know that it just. So I think I think we're getting a little bit better as far as generationally. So it's going to be a slow improvement, but I do think that it's improving because I've told my sons know it's coming.
Yeah.
And they know why it's coming.
And you make a good point right there. The fact that your sons know you got 3 boys. So that's 3 young men that have the benefit of a head start of understanding the priority of taking their health seriously and paying attention to things. And hopefully they have a network of friends that somewhere down the line, they may have that discussion.
That's right.
And with your boys playing football and dealing with injury and whatnot, if one of your boys happens to have an injury and has overcome it, then hopefully they'll be there to be able to help one of their teammates that might experience something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And and again, that's just not something that historically happened.
No, it's not.
Well, I tell you what, it frustrates me because I see so much going on, so many of our brothers and people within, gentlemen in the community that are just going away from here far too soon in their 40s or whatever. Morbid obesity, the blood pressure, the diabetes. And I'm going to put it to you just like this. What frustrates me to no end is when we can't even get them to go to the dentist. Now, how crazy is that?
Well, I mean, you have to look at also what we've been through with medical care and whatnot. Once again, historically speaking, for certain demographics, that's been a challenge just because of a trust issue. It has now become also an economic challenge because if you have health-related issues, I think financially they say a lot of people fall on hard times as a result of medical bills. And a lot of people take the attitude that, if I don't know, it's almost like out of sight, out of mind, and I'll just live as long as my body and God will allow me to live. But there's
I know a lot of people like that too.
And there's a certain anxiety that comes with finding out that something's not right with your body, especially if you're not accustomed to going to the doctor or you're not accustomed to being sick or ill or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it is a mindset change. There's still some accessibility concerns. It's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. But first and foremost, where we have the opportunity to engage and interact and be intentional with our circle and be able to share some things with them honestly in hopes that it's going to help them make better health-related choices and, just choices in general.
Right, because like Mr. Clark was saying, you reach that age, that point in life where we're going to have these little hiccups and glitches and these little aches and pains and things of that nature. And I need to know what it is, if it's just my mind, playing tricks on me or something. I don't want to be in the dark, speaking as a woman or whatever,
right.
Yeah. And if it's something that I need to be concerned about, then I want to find out if it's something, that is just me or...
I guess it's part of that whole, what was that book years ago, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus? We just different like that.
That part. I'm telling you, because ignorance will kill you too.
It sure will.
Real quick in a whole lot of different ways too.
What is it they used to say? What you don't know, what is
what
it?
you don't know can't kill you.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
And it's so funny because, you can go down a list with all kinds of catchphrases because they also said ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
So
that's the one. That's a lie. Don't believe it.
Agreed.
Yes,
Agreed.
Untrue. That's right.
Well, listen, we appreciate you calling in. You've actually taken us right up until the point where we're ready to wrap this show. And thank you for your call and your question and all the happy birthday salutations. I do appreciate it.
All right, then. It's been wonderful listening to you all. I'm in that retirement community as well, so.
Absolutely.
You all have a blessed day, and thanks again.
All right, then.
Well, thanks for calling.
Mm-hmm. All right, bye-bye.
Jeff, my man, I can't thank you enough. I imagine that when I called you and I was telling you about, doing the show and whatnot, you might have said, what in the world is this about to be about? So I hope it was relatively painless for you.
Will, I had a great time. And anytime that you would like me to come back and talk about anything else, I've got, if you want to hear some youth sports stuff, you want to hear about, parents going through the sports recruiting process, give me a call.
Well, the good news with that is you just letting us know right now that that's another topic that we can discuss, because clearly you have some knowledge about that, a lot of knowledge, and who knows, maybe we might even be able to tap in on Big Ed.
You know what?
There's room enough over there for the both of y'all.
Yeah, we'll have to expand out a little bit, but I think we could make it work.
Nice. Well, everyone that tuned in and spent time with us today, we really, really appreciate it, and we don't take it lightly, because you could have been doing a lot of other things. But we thank you for spending the time with us today on Chat City. And I'm not sure if P. Ross will be back next week, but if not, then of course our girl Tamika will be here. So somebody will be on the mic doing Chat City, and we'll be on to the next topic next week. So until then, everybody be safe, take care of yourself, and be intentional about reaching out to somebody today.